Right, just so you know you're in the right place, this is Family Tree Maker for the Iowa Genealogical Society Special Interest Group. Today we're going to talk about charts, how to make charts, and all of the things that go with that. So we are focusing specifically on the included software that comes with Family Tree Maker. We are not going to cover the Charting Companion, which is a third-party add-on tool. So just so that we're all in the same place. Let me get my sharing going on here so you can see my screen. And we'll walk through the stuff we need to do for charts. So in charting, we're talking about, oh, I got some Zoom stuff here. I gotta move. It's right on top of my buttons. There we go. All right. So charting is, we're going to start spending several months working through the publish workspace here. So I have to open up a tree. So let's just open up my tree. Life in the fast lane. Guess I should have opened it up earlier. There we go. And we're going to spend some time in the publish workspace. So we're going to start with charts, just because it's the
start at 4:30.
top one in the list here. And we're going to kind of walk through all these different types of charts here a little bit, talk about pedigree charts. They are available to do both portrait and vertical. The hourglass chart is this one over here. We'll take a quick peek at that one. It's ancestors and descendants. So it starts with a selected couple and then lets you create descendancy and ancestors within the same chart. So you can see here, let's see. Let me see. Oh, 150. Let's go down to about 80 so you guys can kind of see. And they need to take up as much space as you want. We're going to talk a little bit today about how you can take a 2 or 3 page chart and get it down to 1 page if that's what you want, rather than make it really, really big. So this is one that goes, let me see if I can pull over to the ancestral couple. So we have Byron and Lydia and their ancestors and their descendants. So that's the hourglass chart. So, and there's a couple different versions. Here's a horizontal one. Here's the landscape one. We have descendancy charts, which can be really helpful if you want to take it to a family reunion or something. We're going to kind of walk through that. The bow tie charts are kind of the same as the hourglass, but they're a little more symmetrical. And it's direct line only. Family tree charts, you can be kind of creative with what they look like. They don't put them on a tree, so to speak. If you want some of those really fancy ones, you can do that with the Charting Companion. But these boxes are movable, and we're going to talk about that today a little bit, of how to make this more symmetrical or make it the way you want. Extended family charts work really good if you've got some continuous form paper, because they can get really long, or you're taping paper together. All of this stuff can be outputted to a PDF, and if you want to take it to, I was going to say Kinko's, but it's now FedEx, right? to have them printed on a plotter or some of those bigger machines. And then there's something called a relationship chart, which is one that I like a lot to use because it lets you show your relationship to a very specific person. So you can do comparison to 2 people in your chart, and it will create this relationship chart to show the generation. So if you've got a second or third cousin, this is kind of a good one to use, because then you can see, oh, your Aunt Mary's descendant. So you've got the sibling, you got the couple and then the siblings. and then to show down to how your cousins are related. So this is kind of a nice chart. Why they put this in charts, I'm always a little, I guess it's a chart because it's got boxes and lines, right?
Sherry, this is the one I use a lot.
Mm-hmm. I like that one too. So in the handout, I gave you some samples of examples of all of the attributes that you can put on these charts to dress them up, how to put it. They show you some ideas for backgrounds, how you could color the boxes, how you could reorganize stuff within the boxes if you have pictures that you want to put profile pictures on everybody, just so that you can see. I don't put a lot of profile pictures in mine, so I don't have that to demo for you, but I wanted you to see the skills we're going to walk through today, what some of that might look like for you. So let's just start with a basic pedigree chart. So you can click on the chart you want here. You can click on create a chart, or you can click on double click the chart in the diagram here. Now, the secret to charting and reports is whoever is your selected person in your tree. So if you go to people, whoever you've picked in your tree as the home person is where the chart will get created. Now, I'll show you how you can fix that. You can change that while, it's like, okay, I've got Byron picked here, and I go to publish, and I'm going to create a pedigree chart, and I'm going to double click that. And it's going to use whatever settings I had for the pedigree chart the last time I opened one up. Okay. So you can see this is what it looks like. And I got empty space here because I just wanted to point out, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. There we go. This box is not checked. Include empty branches. So if you look at let me look at people. If you look at my tree here, you can see Lydia's family. I don't have these generations of my grandparents here. So those are empty branches. And when I look at the publish, that's why there's nothing there. Now, if I wanted to use this as a worksheet where I wanted those blank pages, I can just check this box here. And it will now put in the empty spaces. So I can use that for note taking, or as I'm doing my research, I could print this off and take this with me to remind me, oh, I'm chasing down Moses McLean's family. And I'm going to take some notes right here on this pedigree worksheet. Okay. So you can include them or not include them. The other option we have right here in the same section is show generational labels. And I'm just going to click that. So it will put those labels on for you so that from the home person, you can see that Samuel is Byron's grandfather and Barnabas is Byron's great-grandparents. Okay, so that you can see across the fact that I've picked Byron. Now, if I pick his wife's family, I'm just going to change it right here in this little mini pedigree chart. I could click and say, I want Lydia's chart. And you see how much more open space I have because I don't have much on her family, right? But if I wanted to, let's say I want to go back to Byron, but I want to go back a generation, I can just check Jacob right here, make him the home person. So I move Byron off, and now I go back another generation on the coffins. And now, Lydia goes away because she's Byron's wife. And now I've got Jacob's wife, Maria. And you can see I still have some open space here. So you can make those easy adjustments with these check boxes right here. Okay. So I just that's kind of a really easy thing to do. And every time you pick a new checkbox, it will refresh it and make it visible for you. Okay. So the other thing is, you notice when I had the labels picked here, it overran this. I can change this little box right here. I can move that anywhere I want, because it's a customizable thing. The other thing is that I can shorten that if I want to, because that's the chart title, which is right here. So I can customize this whichever way I want it. I could, you know, I could take the pedigree chart out and just say, Billy Coffin lineage, right? And I'm going to say generate the chart. And now if I wanted to, I can put that back up on the top in the corner, and it doesn't quite fit. So I can move. I don't think I can move the labels. I can't move labels, but it shows you what you can do. Now there are some other things that you see, I have a lot of information showing up here, and that's because I've got it checked. So we're going to walk through how to customize this chart. So this kind of becomes, let me do that later. In the layout, I'm just going to, we talk about layout. So we'll get to that. Okay, so check this little box here. It says, hover over, it says items to include. So you can see here that I'm including a name, a birth, marriage, and death information. And I'm including, include private facts, include blank facts. I could add my sources, and I could print individual numbers. Now, if I say print individual numbers, and I say starting with number 1, I'm creating an Onatoffel numbering system for this chart. Remember, Onatoffel says whoever is the home person becomes number 1. So if I say okay, it now numbers everybody in this chart for me based on that Onatoffel numbering system. So just know Onatoffel is great, but every time you pick a new home person, they become number 1. Unless you've got a bigger chart that you're using and you specifically tell it that I want, Jacob is actually 217 in, see, so it says it must be a valid number. So let's say, yeah, it must be a valid number. So let's say I make it 217 because I have another chart that Jacob is 217 on, and I can just have this chart reflect the correct numbering from an Onatoffel perspective. Okay. These numbers hurt my head, so I never do that. Just so you know. And I'm going to change this back to you. Okay. So you can have a lot of changes. Now, let's say you wanted more information on here. So you notice that with birth, you notice I have name and I have options here. So on name, I can click on name options, and I just kind of have this information here. There we go. So under name, I can say I want them all to be first, middle, last, but I could make them any of these name options that I want. Okay. So if you're wanting to keep the rows, the boxes really skinny, you can change the format of the name. You can say display the last name in all caps, include a title, include the AKA if you have one. Use the married names for the females, which, my genealogy basics kicks in and goes, why would you ever do that? So, and then as you adjust it, it will show you, they will adjust the sample down here for you. So I'm going to say cancel on name, but I can do this for every single field that I want on this choice. So I can say, I want the date, I want the place. I can say, I can take the word in off, and then it would shorten the place. I can include the description. I can include only preferred facts. So you can see, here's the sample. Include the fact label. So I said abbreviated lowercase, right? So this is birth. So I've got a B is abbreviated. So maybe I wanted to make it all caps. So now you see it moved it from lowercase to uppercase. Maybe that's what you want to prefer. Maybe you want a short name. So put in birth. Maybe I want the full name, which is going to be for birth, marriage. Some of these are going to be the same, okay? But if I want to keep my spacing really short, I can say that. So I'm going to move it to all caps. I'm going to say okay. Now I haven't said okay to all the changes that I'm making in this box of what to include. So it hasn't taken the numbers out and it hasn't changed the lettering. So I'm going to do the same thing with marriage. I want to use all caps, and I'm going to take the in out, and I'm going to say okay. And I'm going to do death. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to say uppercase. And I'm going to say okay. And I want to add another field here. So I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to get the fact list that we have within Family Tree Maker. And I'm going to include, because I use the burial, and I'm going to say okay. And I can move this up and down, okay, based on this little arrow here. So if I wanted, I mean, this doesn't make any sense, but I could move that around if I wanted to, okay. And I'm gonna leave that the way it is. So now I'm gonna say okay, and all the changes that I've made will now get populated. So it's going out, it's taking the numbers off, and it's taking the word in off, and it's adding the burial fact. You'll notice I have a few of them in here. And I just have a placeholder. Oh, I didn't make that. That probably makes more sense to leave burial full because B and B is going to be really hard to remember. So you can see now I've added more information to this chart without adding any extra spaces to it. And if I take the generation labels off, I get a little more space. It adjusts to fill the page that way. So I can move this up. There we go. So that's the what do you want to include? So you can put them on, take them off. You can keep it really simple. You could take them off. You could remove them all if you wanted to. And just you have to remove them. What this divider is this row right here. It shows that I want the name above the divider and I want the details under the divider. So if I wanted to put the let's say, let me see if I want to see if I can do this. If I want to put their lifespan in, I can say okay. And I want to move that up above the divider. Okay. I can say okay. And now I have their lifespan above. Just I don't have to look at the details very quickly, but maybe that's all you want. Maybe you just want a really simple chart with that much on it. And especially if you want to put more generations on a page. So you can see right here, I've got 5 generations total and 5 generations per page. So that's all it's going to give me is I've boxed it into what fits on a page. Okay. So let's see if there's anything else here. Nope. So I'm going to cancel that. So the next thing over is, font control. You notice I can have font control by fact. Okay. So I can say I want the name to be a little bigger. So I'm going to go up to 9. And I want it to be bold, which it's already bolded. So I've made that change. And let's say I want birth to be a different color. You could do that if you have a color printer. And you can do that with all of these. So let's say I want to make this lifespan bold. So I'm going to make that bold. I'm going to say, okay. But you notice you can control it by fact. And you can see I have a little scroll bar here. So because I have the option to leave notes in, I have the option to put in generational labels. I can make them a different color if I want, or a different font size. Okay. So you can see everything. I haven't turned on boxes yet, but if I wanted text boxes, we'll talk about that. I can change the font and color of those as well. So I'm just going to say, okay. Now I've got names are a little bigger and I've bolded the lifespan part. And see, you just play around with it to find the way you want to do it. So if I go over here to the boxes and line styles, this is where you have a lot of control. So I can say right here, I want my females to have a border. I don't care about the border, but I'm gonna, that's the border, the outline. I can fill them. Let's say I'm gonna make the women pink. Let me see what my color choices are here. I can get down here to pink. And I don't want a shadow. Okay. And I'm going to make them in just for, giggles and grins. We're going to make them blue. But I want a really pale blue. So I want, maybe this blue. All right. And you can see my book layout maximum and minimums because it's trying to tell you if you're going to need more space for binding and margins. Okay, so I can make my outer boundary align a different color. I can add a background color, just a color. So let's say I wanted to make the background kind of, let's say, gray. All right. And the pedigree lines, you can see I can make them right now. They're pretty skinny. I could make them bigger if I wanted to. The divider lines, which is these lines on the top, I could make them fatter if I wanted to. I can mark boxes. So if I've marked boxes, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, I can make them a certain color or I can make them a certain shape, kind of a thing. So let's just do these 3 things. I'm going to say, okay. And now you can see my background is gray and my boxes are the color I told it to be. It's just kind of, I don't know, seems excessive. So I'm going to turn my background back to none. Let's see what that looks like. So you can see you can play around with it. You can make them whatever you want. By gender, you can add pictures if you wanted to add pictures in there. You can change the shadowing and all of that kind of. I don't have any pictures in there, so that won't make any difference. But if I go back to my females and I come up to the top, I can say none. I go to my males and I can go back up to the top and I can say none. I can say okay. So now I'm back to where I was. Okay. But let's say I want to make a box. I want to make everybody, I want all of the women to have a rounded corner box. And I want all the men to have a double line box. And I don't think I want them all to be the same size because I got some that have a lot of data in them. So I'm going to take and make sure I unclick that. So now what do I get? I get okay. The boxes didn't show up. Let's see what I did wrong.
You might have to color the boxes to get them.
Yeah, I might have to. So let's do coral for the women, and let's do silver gray. And that's where you're right, Stephen. So you can see my box here is rounded corners for the women. And you can't see the lines there because I didn't put lines on them. So chart borders, double lines, double. So I don't have borders. So let's say I'm going to make the men's dark gray. Oh, that's the females. Let's make them fire brick. Let's make the men dim gray. And remember, I picked double lines for the men. So it's very picky about as you pick the choices on how this is going to look for you. But it only fills in those boxes where you have a name. So your empty ones still stay as worksheet spaces. And you can see, Sarah, I don't have any data on. So that gives me that look and feel really quickly without being too futzy there. So this is the box border and lines. Boxes is this top section. You have to pick a border. You have to pick the type of corners. You could do it for everybody. I mean, you just say text boxes. So if I wanted to create a text box, I could do that too. Yeah, if I had one. And then here's the chart borders and the pedigree lines. So if I wanted to make the pedigree lines blue, I could do that, or make them some other color because of what I've got going on here. So cancel. Now, just as a quick reminder, anything that you have open that you click on help will open up the built-in Family Tree Maker help specifically for where you're at. So here's the definitions of the box border lines options. It gives me some descriptions if I forget and I don't have, Zoom people telling me what I did wrong. You can do this on your own. And then you can just close that. So that's this help on any of these boxes. So if you go back to this one and you say help, items to include, and it walks you through how to add a fact, how to sort facts. If you click the notes boxes, if you click the sources boxes, it gives you a description of what's going to happen. Okay, so just know that that's there for you. You don't have to panic about it. So here's a header and footer option for this chart. Okay. Oh, I probably clicked away from it. So I can change this chart note. It's to whatever I want. Task header. Draw a box around the footer. Print created with Family Tree Maker statement. Includes the submitter information. Now this information is taken from your login account that you have in Family Tree Maker. So I'm going to say include this, include the date. I don't care about the time. Include the page number, and I can say put the page number in the footer or put it in the header. Starting number, and so I get my page numbers. I'm going to say okay. Let's see. Think about putting it on there. No, that's interesting. I haven't had that much trouble with this. There we go. And you can see what it's done is it shrunk the chart so that it could put that information down here in the bottom. And it just pulled that information from my profile on Family Tree Maker. So if I don't want that, I can go back into the footer header. So that note there could be created this for, cousin Joe. You're going to hand it off to somebody and you want them to have your contact information, or you want to know what day you did it, kind of a thing. That's why you might put that information in there, particularly if you're doing it for somebody else. But it shrunk, it didn't really remove anything, but it just shrunk the chart up. All right, so I'm gonna you notice submitter information is taken from somewhere else. So right now it's name, address, email, phone number. So you have to decide if you don't want that stuff to print, you're going to have to change your profile over in options. Okay. So I'm just going to take this all out. I'm going to kind of clear this out. I'm going to say, okay. Let's see if it fixes it. And you think about what it's doing in the background, it's resizing the whole chart with all that data that I have on it because it's kind of busy, and it's going to resize it. So now I've got a little more space here on these boxes, and I don't have any extra space being taken up by print at the bottom. Okay. So here's an option to say on this chart, if I want to include an image from my media collection, which would be the media here within Family Tree Maker in the media folder. Or if you want to create an image from a file. So let's say you have, you want to include a default embellishment. So now within Family Tree Maker, there is a whole catalog of embellishments that you can add. You can put in these little scrolly things, or you can insert a text box. So we're going to walk through these. So here's, it's going to find an image in my, I don't have mine all categorized very well. So let's just say category. So there we go. I'm in my media category. Let's say I want to go to photos, and let's just say for giggles and grins, this is the wrong picture, but I want to include that image. So now it gives it to me here. I can resize it. I could stick it somewhere on the chart. I could stick it in here, you know, so that's what you're getting. And as long as you've selected it, you can hit the delete button and delete it. Let's say I want to include an image from a file. So let's say somewhere in your computer, you've got, let's say you have a coat of arms, just giggles and grins. So here's my documents folder. And you'll notice it took me to embellishments. So I'm in my Family Tree Maker embellishments folder. And I have choices. I can do a decoration. I can do a flourish. Let's say I want to do a flourish. I'm going to open up that folder. And it's going to give me all of my choices that I have. So I can, you know, and you notice some of them are really faint. So you need a colored background for some of these to be visible. Okay. So just for giggles and grins, let's do this one. I'm going to say open. And it's going to put it right there in the middle of the box for me. And I really want to do it on the side. I'm going to shrink it down. And there it is. So you can annotate your charts and your reports pretty much any way you want to with all of these options that we have here under insert. And if we're going to insert a text box, so I have this text box. I can double click it to add text. So I can put in Jacob is my, I can't remember right now, third grade grand. And I can say, okay, now I got to make this visible. I can say, okay. And I can stick that little text box wherever I want it. So I could put it up there. I could put it down here. I could, you know, I could put message in here that says, this is a draft. Please send me any corrections that you have, kind of a thing. Okay. So I'm going to delete that. So that's what a text box is. Okay. So page setup is going to talk about how are you going to print it. It's on letter size paper. Is it going to be portrait or landscape? If I say landscape, let's see what it does. And so it rotated it for me. I'm still on a single page of paper, but maybe I like a landscape better. Gives everything a little more space. I don't have as much clarity on this note-taking space, but maybe that's what I want. So that's your page setup information here. And if you're going to send it to legal paper, you can change the paper size right here. Legal and letter, depending on what you've got for a printer. I'm going to say okay, and it'll switch it back. And then you've got a way to save settings. So you can create this setup. So letter size paper, grave men boxes, coral women boxes, rounded corners, double lines, all of this, you can create that as a new template. So you can say, Okay. And it'll come up and it'll let you give this template a name, right? So you could say pedigree, well, if you could spell pedigree while people are watching, gray men, coral, female. All right, and then I could just save that. So now I've created this whole layout. I've done all this work. I've put all the things the way I want it. Now I've saved it as a template so I can use it in the future. And it says use save settings. So use a custom, say okay. And it comes in here and it lets me find the one I want. So these are samples that I've created in the past, but I could come in here and just say use this one. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to go to Maria. I'm going to say cancel. Let's go to Maria's chart. And she's still got the same rules. Let's go to people. I think this will work. We're going to go to publish. And it's still using that as my default. So for now, that's the kind of where we're stuck. But if you close out of Family Tree Maker and come back in, then you can create that as a custom and you could pick it. So if I go in here to publish and I go into use a custom template, and let's say I want that one, and I open that up, and now I had saved that as a mountain landscape, and there I just picked that one. Okay, so now I can still go back and go back to, I want to use the default template. I'm going to say okay, and now it comes back to plain. Okay, so it's good because if you get one that you like, save it so you don't have to rethink it, do all the work again. And then you can save this particular chart. So do I want to save the Mary Ellen McCall pedigree chart? No. But if you make one, you can create, a custom name right here. Where they're saved is over here under collection, saved charts. So you can see here that I've created some charts for my family members and some that I've played around with. And I've named them uniquely so I can find them. So if I want to say, I want to open this chart of my grandfather, it remembers that I had saved it in, I had saved it as a landscape plane. It had a header on it, and it updated it to today's date. Okay, because I had left the date on there. So that's how the charts and the all of our options work. If you can recall a saved one. Now, if I say, well, let's switch that one for my grandmother, so his wife. Now I could save this chart for pedigree chart for Estella, and I can save that. Now, saved all the settings are going to look exactly alike. I'm going to have a grandfather and a grandmother pedigree chart that look alike, created at the same time. And I can go back to my collections, and they're going to be in Estella. They're in alphabetical order. So here's the one I just saved. So we have a lot of flexibility with charts for customizing charts, how you want them to be saved. And all of that kind of stuff. So once you have it set up, any questions so far? These boxes that we have for control on these pedigree charts, I'm just going to go ahead and open a new one. It will always bring up when you start something new. Like you saw, I opened up a new chart. It just brought up the last one that I had created. So you can make some adjustments with it. Now you can see here, I have this set up for 4 total. If I go up to 5, and I can say 5 per page. You can see here, it says only 4 per page. So now it's telling me you have another page for all these people. So that's what it's done. Okay. But if I say 5 generations on a page, Now it brings them all back into one. And that's about, if I go up to 6, it's kind of squishy. And you can see I don't have family names for grandma out that far, but it would do 6. And you can play around with this and figure out what makes sense for the way you want to be able to read the chart, because this font gets really, really small. Okay. And I can go up here and I can modify it to say, let's see, is it fonts? It's paper. Better footer. It's fonts. Nope. Oh, there's page setup. I can change this to portrait if I wanted to. And so there, it's that look and feel.
I had a
Okay.
quick question, Sherry.
Go
Um,
ahead.
When you put in the information about yourself and the preparer and all that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that completed on mine. So how do I edit that?
So let's talk about that. So it's tools, options. I think I haven't done this for a while. Mhm. No, it's not there. Cancel. File. Oh, that's a good question.
Now, I don't know if I've registered, but I'm pretty sure I have, but I didn't know if that's where you did it. Oh, I see it. Okay. Yeah, it's on options. Whoops. Options and then user information.
Oh, no,
Tool.
no, here we go. User.
No, go back one. Tools
Oh,
and
right
then
there under tools.
tools and
User.
user information. Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you didn't want to give out your phone number, you didn't want to give out your email address or your actual address, just edit this as before you print it, and then you can always put it back to where you wanted.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
yeah. But you can see here that I just was playing around. This chart was made for Randy, and since it's today's date, it just updated it to today's date. Okay. So let's, I do want to show you one of the other types. So let's say we do a descendancy chart. Yeah, we'll use grandma. That was one of 7. And at this point, it's loading up all of the descendants, right? Let's see. Probably should have picked my parents. This is one of those things you have to kind of think about. Okay, how many generations do you have, and how many do you really need? And do you need to break the charts up into more than, you know? So you can see here, I've got 23 pages on 8.5 by 11 paper. And what I really want here is I really want all of the kits. So I'm going to go back to, so I clicked it to go to 3. So now it's taking out the 4th generation. We'll see how I do on this. So I'm down to 14 pages. So I'm just going to say, let's do 2 generations. So this is my dad, his siblings, and all of their kids. So I'm in 14 pages. And you look how unbusy, this is kind of crazy the way this is set up. And it kind of hurts my head. So there's a way to, I'm going to say, let's do 2 generations because I want to see if I can get all of my dad and his siblings on one page, which I should be able to do. And I'm still on. Okay. So here's what I would really like to have is I want Aunt Jean. So I'm going to select them and I'm going to move her over. No, it's not going to move her. A way to do this. So you notice as I go back to Jean, I go to click on 6, it goes to the next sibling, and it goes to, oh, here we go. It's interesting. I'm on page 10, and now I have 1, 2, 3 of the kids on the same page. My aunt never married. My Aunt Lila only has 2 kids. But you can see here where I've got my cousin Shelley was married 3 times and put all the, so you can kind of rearrange them a little bit. So let me see if I can get this to work. There's a way, there we go. So I'm going to mark these 3. So I'm going to right click and right here I can say I can mark them as number 1. Okay. And I can mark Jason and Jared as I can mark up to 2. And so what I can do, remember when we had this option in the boxes, marked boxes are green. I can change that and make that teal. And I can make marked boxes maybe orange and say okay. And now it's going to update those. So that's a way that when you can mark a set of your chart. So let's say I wanted to make each of my ants a different color. You only have 3 options on the marking. So that's, kind of a hard thing to do because they've already been selected. You can select all, or you can select all instances. So there's a way that you can, and I don't do this very often, so I'm really sorry about this, that you can, there's a way to move them too, and I forget how to do that. So I'm going to say select. So I'm going to select them, select the persons, and then I should, it's going to be, you have to be kind of careful in here because if you say delete from the file, you can delete them from your tree or you can delete them on the chart. So you have to be really careful what you're doing with some of this stuff. And I would say just take your time and work your way through these. So I say right click here, I can select all instances. So if you have people that show up more than once in a chart, like I can with my husband's, because his 3rd great grandmother married her niece's father-in-law. So he's in the chart twice. One is her father-in-law and one is her husband. You can combine them and get the chart to be rearranged, but I'm not having much luck with this. And there's a way to move the boxes. Let's see. There's a way to rearrange them, and it's not letting. Select all, so that lets me select everybody. Don't want to do that. I'll click outside of the selection, so I want to do. Select person. This is not helping. All right, I apparently am failing at moving the boxes. One of the things you can do on these really big charts like this, you can collapse it and get it down to where it's more squished. So if I say squished, so you can see perfect, spacing's nice and even. I'm currently in collapse, but if I say squished, it's going to rebuild it instead of 10 pages, still 10 pages, but now it's made the rows closer together, which I don't particularly care for. So there, I like that a little bit better. If you're trying to find someone, let's say I'm trying to locate someone in this chart. So these are all the people that are in this chart, right? And let's say I'm trying to find my dad. I can use this person locator and find him in the chart. So if you got really big charts, let's see, there's got to be a way to fix this. I haven't, oh, wrong box. No, look at box. I may have to do a follow-up on this. All boxes the same size. That's all. I have figured this out at one time. I will have to get that documentation and send it to you guys on how to rearrange these so that they can show up more consistently on a page. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to a pedigree chart just so I can show you some of these other features. So you'll notice right here, there's an option for alignment to the top, number of generations, and you notice these options vary based on the chart you pick. So depending on the chart, you have less options or more options, depending on how the algorithm's going to try to write all of this stuff for you. If we want to add a background, right now it's set to none, but you can click here, you can browse for an image. So let's say you have a picture of the family house. So I'm going to go to pictures, family pictures, and let's just say for giggles and grins, we're going to do something silly. My sister's in there. Let's say I just want to put mom on there. And so you see it puts it as a background. And it's 60% transparent. So I can make that go down to be less transparent, or I can move it up to be more transparent. So if I had, like, if this was a picture, maybe this was a picture of grandma for her chart, or maybe it was something else, but that's how you get those, that background in there. And you can just go back here and say none, and it'll remove it for you. Now you notice that it took me to browse for image, took me to, well, okay, cancel. It took me to select from the media collection, so I could go get a census record or whatever I have. Because I went back to pictures. There we go. Backgrounds. So you can see I could pick architecture, I could pick something from the outdoors. These are the built-in images that come with Family Tree Maker. So you can see you can make them pretty muted. You can look for a pattern if you wanted. kind of have to play around with these and decide, oh, they were farmers, maybe, or maybe they were ranchers. So you pick the rancher one and you add that in there. And you can see you get a little bit of the look and feel from that there. So the ones that are built in are kind of fun to play with. They're pretty muted from that perspective. So that's backgrounds. And then if you want to add pictures, thumbnails, or a photo, I don't think I have any photos on any of these people in this picture. And then you can align it whether you want it centered, left top stretch, where do you want these silhouettes. It's not being very cooperative. And part of that is because if you look at my tree, I don't have individual photos. I go to and I have very, very few in my tree on my people. So there's some controls that you have if you want to put those into your charts as well, so that you can have their pictures in there. I will have, I'm still bugging me how to get to move the pictures. So I know I've written it up somewhere, but you could do a lot of, I'll just show you some of the SIG charts I've got. Colored boxes. In the handout, you can see you can get some backgrounds that are just, different kinds of patterns, geometric patterns. Let's see. So here I've gotten, this is a shadow box. Rather than coloring the box, I colored the shadow. If you want to see what that looks like on the chart. I've got females with the rounded corners. And I've given the shadow a different color. So the fill is none, the border is colored, but the shadow has a color. And that's how I did this one. So that kind of makes it a little easier to on the eyes rather than coloring the whole thing. Still use males and females just to, have some fun with it from that perspective. Now, if you get this all done and you want it the way you want it, you can print them here with print. Okay. I'm concerned on why I've got so much light going on here. Did I miss it? Did the print box show up? Let me make this a little smaller here. Oh, here's the problem. It's over here. So I can send it to a PDF, or I can send it to any of my printers, within your print control within your OS. Or I can share, and oh, this is not going to show up. So let me move this over here, because it's opening up on the, if I can share. So I can order a large print from Family Chart Masters. It's an online service. I can send it to as a PDF. Send as a PDF will open up your default email protocol as an email, put it in as an attachment, and let you pick someone from your box. So the same as export as a PDF. Here's a way to take some of those multi-page charts and put it on one page, and they'll get kind of squishy. And you can import it as an image. So you have some choices on, this is under share. So you have some choices on how it gets printed out. That's funny, it opens on the other screen. So I can print to a PDF or I can share as a PDF. Just kind of depends on which one you like to use better from that perspective. I've given you some information in the handout about the charting companion tool. I went out and checked yesterday. McKeeve is still running it as 20% off for new users and 40% if you have one, but you want to upgrade to Charting Companion 8. It gets added in as a tool, plugins. You can export with a plugin. Let's see if my plugin is working. Oh, I didn't reconnect my plugin after I uninstalled and reinstalled, so it doesn't know that I have Charting Companion. So I would have to go in and get that set up again. Any questions about all of the controls that we have for charts? And I will find the step-by-step instructions on how to move charts on a page, because there is a way to do that. The other thing I just wanted to remind you, and this isn't true in reports, is if I click on Johan here, it will take me to this little pop-up with all of the information I have about him. So if I have notes, if I have media, if I have web links, this fact page comes up. You can navigate from the chart to that person's profile just from clicking on them from here within the chart. Any questions? Are y'all ready to go out and make some charts?
I was making some charts while you were talking, even.
I think the hard part is just knowing that all of those little icons control different parts of what you're building. And you just kind of have to play around with them until you find one that you like and then just save it. It can be a little intimidating, but start with something small so you can get comfortable with the controls, like a pedigree chart. And then as you go to some of the other charts, you can play around. You can see what happened with my grandma had, 7 kids, and most of her kids had at least 4 kids. And it makes a descendancy chart really, really big in a hurry. I didn't talk about, let me share this here really quick because I didn't really talk about this. Share is some of this layout stuff. So if you want a book or a poster will assume that you're going to put whatever size paper you have into the size that it's going to play around with. So you can kind of get a sense of having posters. You could overlap, columns overlap. So here's a poster page. You kind of have to play around with some of these because you can see they're saying the chart size is going to be 5 by 31.45. And some of these are what you want to do if you want to take it to FedEx. I would highly recommend that you read the help about this because I don't use that a lot. But you can generate those big poster size charts and play around with the spacing, squished or perfect. Play around with the alignment modes. Do you want it centered? Do you want it, so here's mine are set to the top. If I say centered, you can see where the line is. It changed from the top to the center. And if I say straight, it does it just from box to box, which I think looks funny. And then this Bezier is a curved line. So I tend to either go center or top on those. And you notice that on poster, there's an advanced button that pops up. So you can navigate how this looks in this view. So you can change your vertical spacing. You can say if you want it to fit horizontally or vertically, you can lock the aspect or unlock. See, so that one changes that look and feel dramatically. No page overlap. So you can, when you go into advanced, particularly on poster, you have some more controls. I don't have the ability to print in posters most of the time. That doesn't help me. So I don't play around in this space, but there is, you notice there's a help here, and help will take you to all of your options and explain the zooming and the positioning for you from that perspective. Some of this, I have found some YouTube videos, not very many in this space. So that's another option for you, but you can see that I'm in poster now, and I have center tree on page, include siblings of the primary individual. So now I'm in a pedigree chart that's on a poster. And if I say include siblings, now I've got grandpa's siblings, and I'm now adding more people to over there. I've got more people that are being added to this pedigree chart. So when you get into poster spaces, you have more controls in one sense. But it takes a little bit of playing around to get comfortable with that. And as you can see, I don't do this very often. All right. I like the fact that for every chart, they customize the options so that you know what can fit or what should fit. And you can pick and choose how you want it to turn out. Any other questions or comments? All right. The next time we have a rainy day, Joe, you can work on it while you're instead of working in the yard.
One thing I like, and I don't know much about the other packages that are out there, but I think one of the greatest things with Family Tree Maker is the versatility. I mean, it just sometimes it's mind-boggling the different options that you could choose. And I can't, coming from an IT background like you, it's just like, what a programming nightmare to make all that work.
Yeah. Well, and then knowing that they're doing a kind of a complete system rewrite with 2024, where they're trying to standardize a lot of stuff between both the Apple version and the Windows version, and they're trying to make a lot of this stuff more consistent. Just,
Yeah.
Because of the flexibility that we have and because of the variability we have, it's no surprise that it's taken this long.
No, and I'm like you, till it works, hang on to it.
Well, and I've been on some calls with some people that were beta testers, and they said the new one is so much faster because they've apparently really changed the database structure to support what we're trying to do with it. So
Okay.
I'm excited to try some of what I showed you today, where it hung up trying to paint things, and how much of that's going to be, I don't know how much they've changed in charts and reports, but even if they just streamlined the database, it's just going to make it so much cleaner.
Sure.
Sherry, did you want to talk about next month's meeting like you did at
Yes,
the?
thank you. Yeah, we asked in the ancestry, for those of you that weren't in the ancestry session. Next month we would normally fall on Mother's Day. We normally push it off a week before or week after. I'm going to be in Spokane the week after, and then the week after that is Memorial Day. So the ancestry group decided to just skip May and jump straight to June, and that way, May can be kind of crazy between graduations and weddings and travel and Memorial Day, that we thought we'd just take a break and skip May and start back up in June. Does that work for you guys as well?
Yes.
All
It's
right,
fine.
perfect. I'll get an email out, probably the week we normally would meet, just to remind everybody, and I'll send one out here, especially if I can find the how to move boxes on a chart. I know I've got that written up somewhere, so apparently I didn't put it in the handout, so. I was working away, trying to make sure I could do everything, and that was when I thought, oh, I forgot to do that, so.
Sherry, I have a question.
Mhm.
I have never used Family Tree Maker yet. Do you know how much it costs?
Right now, they've been offering a $39.95 special that you'd buy the current version and you would get the upgraded version for free. Let me just quickly go out and look and see if that's still available, because because they're so close to doing the release on it. Let me just go look here really quick and see what they're offering it
Okay.
for.
One of these days, I will finally sit down and do some work on it.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
Exactly. Well, my apartment right now has 4 grocery bags, 2 boxes full of food and personal items. I live in a senior community, and we're taking up a collection for the Alternative Learning Center, part of the public school system for these young kids. So,
Nice.
yeah, we collected one heck of a lot of stuff. So we're doing
Okay,
it. We're doing it
so
for the whole month of April.
if you go directly, I'm going to open up chat here.
Oh,
If you go directly to McKeeve, it's $79.95. That's the base price for it. Here's a link. I'm going to put this in chat for the promo price, which they're still offering. So this is a coupon upgrade site where it's $39.95. They will give you the current version, which is 2019, and it includes a free upgrade to 2024, which is supposed to be coming out any day. So that would be kind of the way to go. Now, I always give everybody a caveat. They have their store set up so that you click the dot to download, because it's set up now as a download only. So you click the dot to buy that, and then they make you walk through all these pages of other things they're offering. So just ignore those and walk to the end, and then they'll get you set up. The important thing to remember is use the email address that you use for a lot of your genealogy, because that becomes your link to verify that you have a paid version. So if you have more than one email, which is what I do, I always have to remember, oh yeah, I signed up with this. But if you only have one email, that works out good.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, $39.95 is the best price I've ever seen for it. And with them coming out with the new version, it's going to be really a good deal.
Okay.
All right, good question. Anybody else? All righty. Well, I'll let you have a little bit more of your Sunday back. And when the I'll send out a note when the recordings have been processed. So you can watch me stumble around again.
Thanks, Sherry, and have a happy Easter.
Oh, thanks. You too, everybody.
Yes,
Yeah,
please do.
thank you, Sherry.
All righty.